You ever notice how nobody wants to talk about death, but everybody is obsessed with avoiding it? I mean, we've got creams for it, pills for it, cryogenic freezers for it, and at least 3 televangelists who claim they can reverse it for the low, low price of your retirement fund. Death is that one appointment that none of us can reschedule, but we all act like we're still waiting for confirmation. We say things like, when my time comes. Look, buddy, your time is coming. That train left the station when you were born. Right now, you're just arguing over whether or not you're going to get an aisle seat or a window seat. Now, some people want to stare into that void and they think, maybe this is all there is, right? And then you have others who build entire religions out of the panic. That's how you get billion-dollar empires built on the one thing nobody can fact check, the afterlife. Carl Sagan once said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Now, funny how nobody applies that logic to the part of existence with the lowest customer satisfaction score, right? So tonight we're diving headfirst into humanity's greatest mystery. What happens when we die? We're going to talk about why we're all terrified of it, and how that fear has been weaponized, monetized, and sermonized since the dawn of civilization.
Welcome to the Mighty Philbert Show! It's the Mighty Philbert Show!
Hello, Mighty Ones. I am the Mighty Philbert, and when I die, I may not go to heaven, because I don't know if they let Philberts in. Anyway, I haven't covered anything morbid lately, and it doesn't get any more morbid than an episode about death, right? So, what are your thoughts about death? Well, I found some street interviews and different videos on YouTube where people were asking people, is there anything after this? So let's hear what people think about what happens after you die.
I think that we start all over again.
Well, I kind of believe in reincarnation. So I think we come back as another person or animal or
but I don't think this is all there is.
When you die, you go to heaven.
Yeah, there's a lot of different interesting theories.
I do believe our souls are part of us, but maybe we just turn back into energy. We just decompose. I'm not really sure.
I believe we go to a better place, eh?
I personally think we still look up for our loved ones. That's just that.
Oh my word, I don't think I've thought about that really.
I feel like your spirit, your soul definitely lives on, into the afterlife. I believe that you just cease to exist. You just don't live anymore. But a part of me kind of wants to believe that whatever you believe is going to happen to you.
After you pass, and if you don't have the Holy Ghost and receive Christ in your life, I think you go into hell.
I have no idea.
Death is the oldest currency on earth. Every religion, every cult, every wellness movement has made their fortune selling the illusion of control over death. Ancient priests told farmers that if they buried their dead with enough trinkets, they'd live happily ever after. The Catholic Church turned death anxiety into a subscription service, indulgences, which was a medieval version of Patreon for your soul. Then came the Protestants who said, no, you can't buy your way into heaven. You just have to believe hard enough, which basically means it's the same fear, it's just new branding, right? So fast forward to modern America, where you can literally buy a spot in Heaven's Memorial Acres for the low, low price of $9,999. Payment plans are available because apparently eternity does take Visa. And then there's the prosperity gospel crowd, the jerk-offs like Kenneth Copeland and Creflo Dollar and Paula White, who are all trying to sell you these spiritual Ponzi schemes. Copeland even once claimed that when you sow into God's work, your reward is eternal. Yeah, and so is the IRS audit. Ernest Becker wrote in The Denial of Death that much of human civilization exists to distract us from mortality. Politics, art, religion, sports, all of it. I'd add Facebook arguments to that list also. We can't stand the idea of not existing, so we invent systems that say you'll keep existing just in a gated community in the clouds.
Maud Simpson, welcome to Protestant heaven.
Ruin one, hurrah!
All right, so let's talk afterlife packages. Every culture has one, right? I mean, you've got heaven, you've got hell, you've got Valhalla, you've got reincarnation, the Egyptian field of reeds, and they're all tailored to their values. Ancient Egyptians buried pharaohs with gold, cats, and even snacks for the road. The Norse thought they'd go to Valhalla if they died gloriously in battle, which is basically the Viking version of, hold my beer, buddy, I got this. But Eastern traditions took a different route. Reincarnation. You live, you die, repeat. Until you get it right, I guess. Karma is basically cosmic customer feedback. If you were an asshole last time, now you're going to be a dung beetle. Meanwhile, Christianity went full Marvel Cinematic Universe. Heaven for the good guys, hell for the bad angels, the demons, and a celestial HR department watching your every move. The Bible gives vague imagery like, streets of gold, a lake of fire, mansions prepared for you. Sounds less like theology and more like real estate ads for the morally gullible. But here's the real kicker. These afterlife narratives all have the same psychological function. And that is, say it with me, control. That's right. Heaven rewards compliance. Hell punishes dissent. It's the ultimate carrot and stick where the carrot is made of clouds and the stick is eternally on fire. Even secular people aren't immune. We just swap heaven for legacy. We want to be remembered. Statues, books, YouTube channels, anything to prove we mattered. But here's the thing, right? In a few billion years, the sun's going to vaporize the earth. But, sure, go ahead and name that bridge after yourself. Now here's where people get defensive. But Philbert, what about near-death experiences? People see heaven. They float above their bodies. They see their fucking loved ones. Yeah, I know. And I see flying pigs every time I mix Benadryl with a fever dream. But you know what? It doesn't make it a divine revelation. Look, I'm not mocking the experience. They're real in the sense that people truly feel them. But science has been studying NDEs for decades, and the evidence points to a few clear culprits: oxygen deprivation, dopamine flooding, and temporal lobe activity that makes you feel detached from your body. Dr. Sam Parnia, a researcher in resuscitation science, found that patients reporting near-death experiences often had measurable brain activity for minutes after cardiac arrest, which is basically the brain's last fireworks show before the lights go out. The humans crave meaning, right? We interpret these neurochemical hallucinations as proof of an afterlife. Books like Heaven is for Real sell millions, then quietly get debunked when the kid grows up and says, yeah, I made that shit up. There's comfort in believing your consciousness floats away like a helium balloon instead of just popping. But comfort isn't truth. If you believe in heaven because it makes you feel better, that's fine. Just don't call it evidence, okay? Carl Sagan put it best. He said, it's far better to grasp the universe as it really is than to persist in delusion, however satisfying and reassuring. Here's the thing. Death doesn't need to be terrifying. It's the most natural thing in the universe. Stars die, galaxy dies. Hell, my hairline's been dying for years. When we stop pretending death is a bug in the system and start seeing it as part of the cycle, life actually gets better. Alan Watts once said, trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. Death gives meaning because it sets boundaries. Without an ending, there's no urgency. The late philosopher Bertrand Russell wrote that accepting our finite existence frees us from superstition and terror. In other words, when you stop expecting an encore, you start enjoying the show. The atoms that make you have been here since the Big Bang. You're not gone when you die, you're just recycled. You're a cosmic compost, and that's kind of beautiful, don't you think? I mean, one day the carbon in your bones could be part of a sunflower, a songbird, or hell, even a fart in a stranger's car. Immortality achieved! We don't need eternal consciousness to matter. The briefness of our lives is what makes them meaningful.
You knew it was coming, this part of the show. It's time to wrap it up and talk about what we know. So come on, Mighty Philbert, show us what you've got as we get into your final thoughts.
I guess this topic hits me harder these days because, well, I'm freaking old. I turned 50 this year. My daughter keeps reminding me that this is half a century, Dad. I'm like, yeah, thanks, kid. It's just what I needed, an existential crisis wrapped in sarcasm. Little smart ass. But I've had my share of health scares. These days, a bad case of indigestion will have me clutching my chest like Fred Sanford yelling, "It's the big one!" But, when I was younger, I thought I was immortal. Jumping off roofs, taking dares, doing all kinds of dumb shit to prove how fearless I was. Now I can't tie my shoes without making some kind of sound effect. Every action comes with a grunt, a pop, or a sigh that usually sounds like the door of a haunted house. My wife says we're paying for this now, for all the years of using our bodies as trampolines when we were young and dumb. And I think she's right. The older I get, the more I think about how temporary this ride really is, But here's the thing, instead of fearing death, I've actually kind of started to appreciate it. Because knowing there's an end makes every laugh, every meal, every ridiculous argument with my kids matter more. We don't need heaven to make life meaningful. Meaning is what we give it while we're here. What comes next, nobody knows. And that's okay. The mystery doesn't need a map. It needs curiosity, it needs compassion, and the guts to live fully while we can. Because if there's something after this, great, If not, then this was our one wild chance to exist, and that's a miracle all its own. Stop obsessing over what's coming next and pay attention to what's right now. Because the universe doesn't owe you eternity. It gave you existence. And that, my friends, is enough. Anyway, that's going to do it for the show today. Remember, you don't have to be religious to do the right thing. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and stay mighty, everybody.
You just watched the Mighty Philbert Show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share it now with someone that you know, and I'll be your friend for life. Bye, everybody, and stay mighty.
This is an Okie Doke production.